This is a nephron inside a kidney. In one kidney, there can be thousands to even 1,000,000 nephrons. So how this works is blood will enter the kidney and will head into these nephrons. It heads into the nephron through arteries. So when the blood comes into the nephron, it heads into something called the Bowman's capsule. So this section right here is the Bowman's capsule, this little circle section up here, and inside of the Bowman's capsule we have the glomerulus, which is a series of blood vessels that acts as a filter for blood coming into the nephron. So things like water, ions, amino acids are filtered into the nephron, and other things like proteins and blood cells are not filtered into the nephron. So the proteins and blood cells will leave through this vein here, and everything else will remain inside of the nephron. So after the glomerulus filters the blood, the substance that is now inside of the nephron is called filtrate. So the filtrate will then head to the proximal tubule. So that is this section right here of the nephron. It is highlighted here in orange. So certain things are reabsorbed and secreted. So reabsorbed means that it will leave the nephron and head into the interstitial fluid. What we can't see on this diagram here is that inside the interstitial fluid and surrounding the nephron, there are capillaries. And these capillaries will reabsorb substances that are in the interstitial fluid. So when things leave the nephron, they will go into the capillaries and they will be reabsorbed and go back into the bloodstream through this renal vein that we talked about earlier. So this little circle up here represents the things that are being reabsorbed. So we have sodium and chlorine, or NaCl, as we know as salt. So salt will be reabsorbed into the body here. Water will follow the NaCl because the interstitial fluid will now be hypertonic. Something else that is reabsorbed is bicarbonate. Bicarbonate helps to regulate our blood pH, along with H+ ions here that are being secreted. So when something is secreted, that means it is released from the capillaries into the interstitial fluid and into the nephron. So hydrogen ions are secreted into the nephron, and bicarbonate is leaving the nephron. So depending on our blood's pH level, more hydrogen ions will be secreted or more bicarbonate will be reabsorbed, depending on what the blood needs at the time. Something that is also secreted here is urea. Urea is a nitrogenous waste that is produced by the liver that your body needs to get rid of. So the proximal tubule plays an important role in regulating the blood pH of our bodies. So after the proximal tubule, the filtrate will head to the loop of Henle. This is highlighted here in blue. So the loop of Henle has a descending limb on this side and an ascending limb on this side. So in the descending limb, a lot of water will be reabsorbed due to there being many aquaporins on the surface of the nephron. This causes the filtrate to become more concentrated because there is no opportunity for NaCl to leave. So once it gets to the ascending limb and is moving upward here, the filtrate will become more dilute because NaCl now has a chance to leave and water does not. So as we can see, there's a common theme of salt and water being reabsorbed into the body. And again, this salt does many things for the body, such as absorbing nutrients, maintaining blood pressure, and fluid balance. So after the loop of Henle, the filtrate will head into the distal tubule. It is highlighted here in purple. So the same thing happens here, where NaCl is reabsorbed, as well as water, and bicarbonate and hydrogen ions are reabsorbed and or secreted. Again, this is another spot that helps balance the blood pH in our bodies. So after the filtrate heads through the distal tubule, it will head to the collecting duct, highlighted here in green. So the collecting duct has more reabsorption of NaCl. Also, some urea is reabsorbed. Like I said, urea is a nitrogenous waste that our body needs to get rid of, but it is not as toxic if it is not in super high quantities. Also, water may or may not be reabsorbed. That's why I have the question mark right here. Water may or may not move out of your body depending on your hydration level. If you are dehydrated, water to be reabsorbed through through aquaporins that are on the surface of the collecting duct. So this will make your urine more concentrated and more of a yellow color. If you are overhydrated, your body does not need all this water. So aquaporins will not open along the surface of the collecting duct, and water will not be reabsorbed. So this will cause the urine to be more dilute and also cause it to be more of a clear color because there's more water.